The last time I was here, there was a gentleman who had just had heart surgery. And a week later, he was here. Then there was a woman who said that she hadn't left the house for like 5 years. But her doctor changed her medication. And this was one of the things she was now able to do. She had been housebound. So imagine that. I was here celebrating my freedom. I had been housebound myself. And when I came, I explained how I had to go groping basically down. I didn't understand the area, so I wasn't parked close by. But I described in a previous video how I had to go from about there all the way to here by using cars as a safety for my ataxia. And it was so hard. And I was so flared. And I'll never forget it. The first time I jumped into these waters, I swam around. When I got out, my hands and feet were numb. And my things were here. I didn't plan to swim. I saw people swimming and I had a bikini on because I planned to swim somewhere, but not here in the middle of the city. I saw them swimming and so I just took everything off. I jumped in. Then I had to fit myself back into my leggings like I have on today. I have a bikini on under here too because now I know I might swim here today. It's a possibility. So I had my socks, my shoes, and I have toe socks, finger socks. So each toe has a little sock cover on it. Hard when your feet are wet. I had no towel, but I got out. Somehow I got my leggings back on, my socks, put my shoes on. I needed to go back up that hill. And for the first time in years, I had no ataxia. It was gone. I felt cured. The tragic part is I was not cured, not even a little bit. Something about the water, the coldness of the water, the salt in the water, everything about the water just calmed down my system and took away all of my symptoms. It was one of the best days of my life, moments of my life, because once I thawed out, the same pressure in my head came back, that same head helium feeling came back. Sadly, it all came back. But for that run, back up that hill, I was free again. I was like a child. All the pain and inflammation in my body, I didn't even get into that. I have so much pain in my body. It was gone. My feet were numb, so I was a little bit concerned about running on numb feet. I'd never done that before. But other than that, I was singing praises. And that's the first time I learned the power of swimming in cold water for my symptoms. And so for the past year, I've been traveling around doing house sits around Europe, Croatia, Ireland, and waiting. I knew I'd be coming back during this time of year, and my health was just suffering a lot of the time. But I kept holding on to the fact that I would be here in December and I could be a little more free. the sad part is I'm not sure if my symptoms are advancing, because now, even after I go into the water, though I haven't swam specifically here yet, I have swam at other beaches. And though I go into the water, it reduces my symptoms, but it doesn't get rid of them as it had the very first time. So that's where I'm at with that. And that's why my goal is in 2026 to find a place that I can afford anywhere, but I think Albania is likely the place where I can try swimming in the sea. I tried it in a brine pool and it does not work as well. It's better than nothing, but it doesn't work as well. I need to try swimming in the sea. I'm gonna try it for an extended period of time and see if I can make a real difference. What's interesting, even as I stand here talking, I have this like sand in my ears, this feeling of congestion all the time. At one point, the hearing doctor said I might lose my hearing because my body is just filled with so much congestion. My ears could literally pop because they were just so clogged up. At least that's how I interpreted it. But as I'm standing here, you know, like when you start the descend on a plane and your ears open up? Yeah, my ears just opened up and I haven't even gotten in the water. So that's interesting. That is really interesting. And that is why it is so important that I try to figure it out. Try to find a place that doesn't create a flare, but that helps reduce my MCAS symptoms, which then reduces my ataxia, my disequilibrium, and allows me to continue walking, and also allows my mind to continue operating at a higher level. Because as I just said, I get tired and my mind, my thinking degrades. But I also said overall, because of this illness, because I have no vices now, I'm smarter than I've ever been. I'm not saying I'm a brilliant human being. I'm just a lot smarter, due largely to the self-control and the patience I've learned, allowing me to really dive into topics in ways I've never done before. But also, I've never prayed so much in my life. I study the Bible now, and that has made a huge impact in how I process the world in ways that I would need a whole other video to explain. Welcome to Corfu, Greece. I hope you find your Greece in the world. For some of us, it might just be another room in the house where we feel free and comfortable as we can get. For some of us, it might be that feeling you get after you take a shower, that great, calm, relaxing feeling. For some of us, it might mean moving. Finally recognizing that it's not worth saving money if your health is failing, because your body can only take so much for so long. For me, it means trying to thread a needle. I feel like I spend most of my days trying to thread a needle and not ever getting to accomplishing my actual projects. There are days where I just, in prayer, I tell God, like, I can't do this. I can't thread this needle today. There was a day like that in Medjugorje, and do you know, miraculously, I just popped up and I went for the most amazing run. I never imagined going on such an extensive and energetic run. And this was after I woke up at 4:30 p.m. from a nap, saying to God, I'm throwing in the towel. I'm going back to bed. I can't do this. I cannot do this anymore. The next thing I knew, without any thought disruption, no static from my own mind, I got up, put on my shoes, and off I went on this run. I couldn't believe it. I have spent a lot of time in bed, depressed. But I haven't always been a Christian that prays like that. And it worked. I absolutely could not believe it. For me, that was a miracle. And if you don't think that's a big miracle, then maybe you're not someone who just could not bring themselves to get out of bed. It's the worst feeling in the world. When there is nothing in life that can convince you it's worth taking another step outside. So for me, that was a miracle. And I love it. And I love it that God gave me that miracle and continues to support me throughout this. You might say, where's your God? Why isn't he healing you? Well, I'll keep praying that he does. But in the meantime, I can see what he's doing. He's using this like Michelangelo used his chisel to make something more beautiful in my soul, not in the way I look. These days, I'm under the impression that God is not concerned at all by the way I look. But in my soul, do you see this thing in the water? Let's see if it comes up again. There it is. In my soul. It's painful though. Would I ever choose not to be ill and to be the person I was before this whole nightmare started? No, I would choose this. I would choose this nightmare. I would choose this pain. I would choose this suffering for the progress I've made. I would choose it. I thank God that this is my story. I'm not in bed, laid out and bitter. I can enjoy the sunshine and I've earned it. I have earned it. But I've also been supported. I haven't done it alone. I've done it through prayer. Without prayer, I'd be in bed right now, waiting to die. Thanks for joining. Be well all and take care until next time from Corfu, Greece.